Hello! Today I'm going to look at all 4 sets of these incredibly beautiful boxes of gouache. Now I've done individual videos for each box, so do check those out if you're interested to see a little bit more in depth the colours that are in them and some of the paintings that I was able to do with the different limited palette sets. But I thought I would do one more kind of a bonus video just having a look at all of the colours together on one big swatch card, and I'm actually going to split it into 2. So first of all, I'm going to swatch each set of colours side by side so we can see them all on one page. And then I'm going to make one giant set of 48 colours, moving the colours around so that they follow a cohesive colour order. So let's get into it! So these are the Holbein Artist Gouache Traditional Colours of Japan Irodori sets, and we have summer, autumn, winter and spring. I got all of these at my local art store called The Art Shop. They're not very easy to get. I have linked up one place, I think it's out of Japan, where you can buy the paints. They don't seem to be very easy to get on places like Amazon, but if I ever do find links, I will be adding them to my videos. So you can watch them in no particular order, but this one is just going to encompass everything. I'm just going to open the boxes so you can see how beautiful the tubes are. I've only used a small amount of paint out of each one, so they look practically new. We can see that box is upside down. Let me flip that around. They look really pretty together, don't they? So I'm just curious to see what they're going to look like all on one sheet. I've got them on different pages in my sketchbook, and so it's a little bit annoying having to flip between each page to find them, so let's just do one big swatch. I figured the easiest thing to do would be to dot out a bit of paint from each tube onto the paper and just make it like one of those dot cards that you swatch out. The paint does re-wet with water, so there's no issues with that. And I'm just painting out the different sets as they came originally to refresh our memories as to what came in each set. And you can see they're all over the place, so it does get quite confusing when they're together. I've written out the names and the pigment numbers in case you're interested. Honestly, I'm not that bothered by pigment numbers. I find it kind of a dull subject, and I tend not to get caught up into it because I just really want to see how the colours look on the paper. That's all I'm particularly bothered about, and I'm not super worried about their light fastness, although there are a couple of pigments in here which are known to be non-light fast, and one of them is PR83, which is alizarin crimson, which you can see in the bottom left hand corner for winter. It's just called crimson there. Otherwise, most of the pigments seem to be fairly standard ones that are commonly used in this day and age. So looking at the summer palette in its entirety, you could see the colours are pretty bright and vibrant for the most part. It also, strangely enough, has the black and the white in that set. Those two could have gone in any other set, so I don't know what their thinking was for putting them in the summer. Maybe because they are just so starkly contrasting? I don't know. But when painting out the autumn set, it is very much a warmer palette and going into a lot more of the orange, gold and green, also brown spectrum. Summer by comparison is more of a rainbow palette. I do still love that deep indigo blue colour in the autumn set, and the antique rich gold is super pretty with it. One of my close friends has commented that she loves the autumn set the most, and I can see why. It is a really pretty combination of colours. Going into winter, this is definitely the weirdest set of the 4 of them. I just couldn't quite get my head around it. Some of the colours make sense, but then other ones are just kind of strange. Like, for example, the PG7 Patina, which is that really blue-green, that seems to me more of a summer colour. But then one savvy viewer pointed out that some of the colours in here are probably aimed at Christmas, particularly the patina, the crimson and even the peony. That makes a lot of sense, and I guess it didn't occur to me because Christmas is in summer in Australia, so I just didn't even think of the Christmas angle. Yeah, I think that's probably what it is, but the palette's just still a strange one to me, and I'm not particularly keen on it. I like the colours individually, but I just don't like it as a palette very much. Spring, on the other hand, makes much more sense, and these colours are much more pastel. I mean, spring also has bright colours, but I think they've gone for the mainly pastel version of it. There is no cherry blossom pink, and I think that peony would have been perfect in the spring set, mixed in with white to get a lovely cherry blossom colour. Oh well, I guess they all have to go somewhere. And here they all are together. It's so confusing, they're just all over the place, and it's very hard to see them as a whole set together like this. So what I'm going to do is go through and put them into colour groupings and just make it look like a far more logical set. It took a while, but I think I've got them into a pretty decent order. I'm going Roy G Biv on this one with the earth and black tones down the bottom, and we'll see what they look like in some semblance of order, which is less confusing than this lot. It looks so satisfying having the dots on there, although I've got rather a lot of paint on that indigo one, and also the black came out quite a lot, so yes, there is more paint on here than I really needed. Never mind, I'm just going to work with it. That first crimson is that alizarin crimson. Gosh, it's a beautiful colour. I love it a lot, but it is not very light fast, although usually when you paint them quite thickly it isn't such a problem. It's more when colours are diluted out that their light fast issues become more apparent, as they will fade a lot more quickly. I think it's already apparent that all four sets together is making this wonderful colour gradient from that bluer crimson all the way into warmer reds and oranges. I really like this top layer in particular. I think it's so pretty, and the pale coral goes really nicely next to that orange. I mean, the pale coral could almost be considered like an earth tone as well, but I decided it was going to be up there. That orange yellow by comparison is so incredibly bright, and the amber is just a slightly deeper colour perhaps than the orange yellow, but I noticed there are a lot of yellows in this set, particularly the warm ones. The orange, yellow, amber and japonica especially are all incredibly warm, and then they become cooler from the gardenia yellow. So you can see there are heaps of yellows in this set, and I am still miffed that they didn't put one in the winter set. I so think they should have. I decided to put the two golds here as well because they seem to fit best up in this area rather than putting them with earth tones. The Antique Rich Gold and the Antique Gold are so gorgeous together. I love both of them equally. Light Ochre is the one I would have put in the winter set. I think just because it is more of a muted tone, it would suit that palette well. I didn't think of it until someone pointed it out in the comments that I could have actually also rearranged the paints as to what I think would be great in each season. Let me know if you would like to see that video, because I might be able to arrange something further down the track, but for the moment I'm just putting these in just one big palette. So we've gone into the greens, and I started out with the ones which seem to be the most yellowish greens, especially that Amur Cork Yellow, which has a green pigment in it, and then I'm going in with those really bright greens. The Seedling, Spring and Leek are all really bright ones. Pine Tree Green, I didn't really know where to put that, so it's just there next to the Evergreen, which probably would have been better sitting next to the Leek Green, and then that bluish green Patina, which is a really beautiful colour, Phthalo green blue shade, and then I put the pale Patina next because that's kind of related to it and does have the PG7 in it as well. Going into the Bamboo Green, it's slightly bluer but very, very similar to pale Patina, and then I end up going into all these wonderful blue colours. I didn't really put these in any particular order because it was hard to choose. I started off with ones which looked like they had a little bit more of a greenish tinge, going into those redder blues a bit later, such as the Ultramarine. And when put beside them, the Pale Patina and Bamboo Green do seem to be a lot more aqua than green to me. So some of the blues are pure pigments and other ones have white mixed in them, like the Stayflower Blue. But I do think it is a really lovely palette of colours, and it does feel very gouache to me. The Ultramarine is a standard blue, which you find in pretty much everything. So is there much difference between gouache and watercolour? From what I gather, the biggest difference is the size of the pigment particles, I guess you would say. For gouache, the pigment isn't ground quite as fine as it is for watercolour, and often gouaches will have whites mixed into them. I think I might do a comparison video down the line with a bit more research as well. These purples are really pretty. I wasn't too sure where to put the peony, so I just stuck it at the end of the purples because it feels like a magenta to me and closer to that purple than necessarily the reds up the top. Now we go into the earth colours, starting off with the Taisha Brown, which was from the summer collection, and then this Iron Oxide Red, which I think was an autumn one. I think the browns in the set are really lovely, and there's a nice variety of them. I wasn't sure how different they would be from each other, but I think there is a noticeable difference in tones when I put them side by side like this. They work really well together. Although the dark brown isn't that dark by comparison to, say, the russet brown, but I like that there's a whole row of browns because they're always useful to have in any paint sets. The Riku Grey definitely feels like a slightly warmer grey to me than the silver, which feels a lot more neutral. Those two colours are really useful. I put the Antique Silver next to the greys because they seem to all fit together, and then I've got these two dark colours, which are the Blue Black, most likely a Payne's Grey, and then the incredibly opaque Black. You can just see how deep that one is. And then last but not least is the White, which in gouache painting is always the most useful of everything. And here they all are, laid out together in a nice rainbow order. I like it. I think they look good together, and it just makes so much more sense now. You can see there's heaps of yellows, and combined with those two antique golds, it's quite a lot just up in this little section. There's also quite a lot of greens, kind of aqua colours and blues, a few little purples, one magenta, a line of browns, and a line of greys, silvers, blues, blacks, and white as well. Not so many reds, only really these three up here, vermilion if you want to consider that one a red. So it's a pretty great palette overall. I think it's very useful, and you can do a lot with all 4 seasons together. So that's pretty much it for today. I still have a lot of paint on this dot card, so I'll pick it off once it is fully dry. I've already put my finger in that one. The great thing about these is that they will re-wet from dry, which is excellent, and no paint gets wasted. Here's what they looked like in their original sets. I much prefer just having one large set like this. I think they look really great together, and they make a far more solid set of colours. I really hope you've enjoyed this series of videos that I made on the 4 different gouache boxes. I've really enjoyed filming these videos. I had a lot of fun doing the paintings in my sketchbook and also swatching them all out together. I think it makes an awesome palette. I am pretty much gouached out at the moment, so I haven't got a painting to do today. It's just a bit much. I do have an idea for one, but I think it's going to be quite complex, and I do need to spend some more time thinking about it and planning for that, so that might be further down the line. But for now, I'm just going to stick with the swatches and put my gouaches aside for a bit and do something different in my next video. Thank you so much for following along with all of my videos. Don't forget to check out the whole playlist if you want to see each box in a more specific detail, and don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and click the subscribe button so you can see more of my videos in the future and all of my back catalogue as well. And I will see you all again really soon in my next video. Take care out there. Swatch you later. Bye.